Alright, welcome to the channel. Episodes review of 8 and 9 of Raised by Wolves coming at you. Look, I believe I said it in my last review last week, or this week, last week, that I genuinely couldn't see how the necromancers were created by the humans of Mithras, the Mithraians, basically those humans, right? The religious cult. I couldn't see it, and lo and behold, what gets revealed? Turns out that the humans, yes, they did create them, but they actually don't know how they created them. They created the necromancers because they were given some scriptures, and it was literally hidden in the scriptures. So they were created by aliens. I said this. I bloody said it. It just didn't make any sense to me. I was watching it and I was like, why would they have them? Why would they have them? Why wouldn't they have other weapons? Like, none of it made any sense. None of it made any sense at all. Now, it could still turn out that they that they did create them, and that was a lie, because the robot said that, well, I'm just repeating what I was programmed to repeat, but that's what I know. So basically, what happens in the few episodes, right? 8 and 9. We pick up with Mother. She goes back to the Ark that she obviously had previously blown up. Good to see that the wreckage is still there. And if you didn't notice, they still have the hexagonal structure, the sort of the beehive honeycomb structure, which is obviously very pivotal to this religion, the Mithraians, the religion and the people of Sol, because it's, again, a 3D hexagonal structure. It's what they use on the incense burners, and it's the same structure that's in the desert, the one which they bow to and go, well, this is clearly from Sol. So that hexagonal structure is very, very important to them, or at least it seems to be important to them, because they made a bloody ship out of it. I'm not sure that's the strongest structure you could make a spaceship out of, but it's interesting. It's just something I picked up and I was like, there you go, there's another callback. So she goes back to that ship. She believes she is injured. She has suffered quite a big, blows and loss and in that fight and things like that. And then she finds a robot, another synthetic, an android, that she is going to, she starts to pull all of the liquid out of, right? Just uses them as a blood bag. Now, I will say, I really like the design of the robots. They do have a bit of a callback to me anyway. I really liked Alien Isolation. They do have a Working Joe type vibe. But I like the fact that they didn't make them too human, The ones which just serve a purpose and are more like a tool, they really just make them look like a tool, I guess. I mean, they've got weird little squinty eyes and more utilitarian. They're less welcoming anyway. And I like that design. I think it is quite unique. So anyway, Carl is the synth. Mother drains Carl. And they start having a discussion about what's wrong with Mother. She has some tumour in her belly. And yes, you guessed it. She's pregnant. Somehow. She's pregnant. There does seem to be a higher power on the planet of some kind, but it also goes back to her creation, because she talks about the fact that she's pregnant. It can't possibly be. Carl talks about dark photons and this, that and the other, and then it leads to the conversation about how because she talks about how she was created, and then Carl hangs there because he's hanging and says, not much is known about the necromancers. How they were made was found in the scriptures, which was passed to us from up above or whatever. Which to me just goes, yep, I was bang on, I was right. Because the necromancers, they can't possibly be. If you create, and for those thinking, oh yeah, but they said it in the Mithraians said it. Doesn't matter. We've now got other information. But then also put it to you guys that if you're going to create a being that can change its structure at will to make itself impenetrable, Surely you'd make armor out of that structure, wouldn't you? Of course you would. You'd wear a skin of it. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's just so dumb. So no, clearly they didn't make them. Which says to me that actually the Mithraians, their god, their religion, is all aliens. I reckon it's all aliens. It's all bloody aliens, isn't it? That's why they knew to go to Kepler 22b. Because again, remember, Mithraians went there. Campion sent people there. My dog's here. Hey, bud. So definitely, it's all aliens. And then we go a step further, because in the next episode, I'm backtracking a little bit on the story here, or forward tracking. But in the next episode, there are some cards which are left for Mother presumably to find. And she looks at it, she scans it, and she has a vision. And a vision is a hexagonal, object, a 3D hexagonal object. My mind eludes me of what the actual terminology is. And what's sticking out the top? A bloody alien. A bloody alien. Now, it looked a little bit like the aliens on the planet, the creature, but not. It had the same snout-like structure, but it was more of a point on the end. Whereas the aliens on the planet now actually have, it comes down to a point, but it's not a snout so much. It's not like it's less beaky anyway. So, yeah, it's got it's aliens, isn't it? It's bloody aliens. So I don't know what I think about that now, and I don't know what I think about the fact that somehow Mother's pregnant and what's inside. It's very compelling, but it's very much verging away from sci-fi, because science fiction has to have grounded rules. Remember, that's why sci-fi works. It has grounded rules and things in the universe, and then fantasy is fantasy. This is going way into fantasy now. So to keep the baby nourished and from killing Mother, she starts feeding it blood, because it's part plasma, so it's part human, part android. Apparently, is this going to be the savior of Mithras? Can't be, can it? Because that's not. It's not an orphan. Who's the savior of Mithras? What's going on here? It's all a bit. They're playing on Satan versus, sun god here. All right, and I'll explain why in a second. But she starts feeding it plasma, and then they fight. They meet up with the other people. Fimmel's character doesn't really do an awful lot in these last two episodes. He doesn't really do an awful lot at all. He gets beaten to a bloody pulp, and he swallows the eyeballs of Mother, because he's forced to by the other Mithraians. But then he starts spitting out the blood, but the synthetic white blood. So I don't really know what's going on with that either. Maybe he's going to turn into a bloody synthetic now, I guess. I don't. All rules. There's no rules. There's no rules to the universe. So it sounds like I'm talking nonsense. But I bet you all thought I was talking nonsense before when I was like, the necromancers, they're definitely made by aliens. I did have a bunch of people going, no. Well, it looks like I was right. Also, oh my god, I'm filming this about 2 hours after I've already edited and rendered and went to upload this video. So I am so sorry, because this is going to delay it, but also I look like an idiot. I got so sidetracked talking about Mother, I didn't even talk about Father coming back! Yes! Jasper loved it as well. No, honestly, in all seriousness, what a fantastically touching scene it was. So good, and I knew there was a little bit of Father still left. I knew it was Morse code, I knew that was happening. It's just so good to see, though. And I always say, when it comes to subverting expectations on shows, you absolutely have to give someone you can't subvert someone's emotional expectations. If you do that, you lose your audience. You absolutely lose your audience, because people want the emotional expectations to come to fruition. It's what keeps the audience engaged throughout the subversion of expectations. That's why Star Wars recently fell apart, because you don't get the emotional expectations that you want, and that's why, opening up with Luke just throwing the lightsaber away was it just lame? What's this? What are you doing? Anyway, I digress. Really, really fantastic to see Father back. He is such a good actor. He really needs to be in more things. Him as an actor, yes please, he's epic. Like, he is really, really good. And it's really, really good to see him back and see that dynamic coming back again. So anyway, on with the review. So there's no rules to this universe anymore. But I am enjoying it, strangely enough. I am enjoying it. Now, the reason why they're playing on good versus evil and Satan versus, you know, the sort of creatures of light and things like that. So, there seems to be definitively two factions at play, right? There's a faction that is, in terms of like a higher being anyway. I think that there's maybe two factions, or just maybe one, but this is just me spitballing. Because things are said about this prophecy, this child of Mithras, right? And yet, certain interactions are happening along the way and around the fact that this you know, this grandiose creation has happened inside Mother, that seem to indicate one power may want that thing to be dead, but then they also wanted her to live. Now, I'll explain what I mean. So Paul got whispered into destroying the cards. Interesting. So Mother can't learn more about what happened, you know, about the past and those, you know, the alien in the bubble and the little hexagonal thing. That's a bit odd. You then also had the Mithraean sort of structure in the desert protect one of the children from burning his hand. Why? Very odd. But then also when Campion whispered or spoke to Mother's belly, the child, she suffered great pain and basically proclaimed that it's all dead. Odd timing. It might have just been coincidence. But it seems to me that they're aligning that there's sort of two forces at play here, I think. And then also, the rapist Mithraean did say, hey, look, you know, those cards and this is all the work of the devil, the pagans, blah, 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 all this kind of crap. So, it's all a bit out there at the moment. Beautifully well shot. Some of the effects of that lander flowing through the desert and landing again, definitely lame, super lame. Did not enjoy that. Thought that was bad. Sound design's really good on this, actually. Christopher Nolan, you need to learn. Sound design's good on this. Learn your sound mixing, because Tenet blew my ears off. But I am enjoying it nonetheless. It seems that we're going to get some explanations, hopefully. This is the thing. I've been burned by, you know, countless series that just don't explain anything. And I'm sick of it. But I am enjoying it. What do you think to my theories and my speculative review? Let me know down below. Do you think that it's aliens? It's definitely aliens. Anyway, I think this is what... Because Ridley Scott didn't write this. He just, you know, he's on board as a producer. I think this is why Ridley Scott wanted to get involved. Because it's literally aliens created us again. I reckon that's what it is. Aliens created us, and aliens are looking to create like more higher powers and higher beings. Aliens are gods. This is clearly what Ridley Scott believes. Or gods are aliens. Anyway, whatever. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll be intrigued to see what happens with Mr. Fimmel here. Anyway, cheers. Tune in next week for my next review of Mr. H. Take care.